What's up, my goats? Today we're talking about why INFJs, or if INFJs have ADHD, what that looks like. And so INFJs are often known as the visionary type. They are the counselor. They see patterns into the future that many types don't always see. But when you throw ADHD into this mix, suddenly that mystical clarity begins to feel like you're juggling 10 bowling balls while standing on a balance beam. I'm trying to get this out of my hair. So today I want to break down what it actually looks like when an INFJ exhibits ADHD and why I think that they can be more prone to this than other types. Also, why this feels like a paradox, why so many INFJs might feel like they're broken. But most importantly, why this chaos is hiding a kind of genius. So NI, introverted intuition, is like a laser beam. Wants to narrow chaos into this singular, inevitable vision. So this is their internal operating system that picks up on signals, patterns, social cues, and it draws conclusions from these patterns. And I think one of the curses of the, not just the INFJ, but of this cognitive stack, introverted intuition, something that also overlaps with INTJs, is that this is a very subjective, non-linear function. Part of them craves this clean, put together storyline, but because of NI's wiring, their brain is constantly putting these thoughts and these insights into this continuous just state of flow. So this looks like, half-read books, half-started projects. You can feel overwhelmed by the variety of choices that may be in front of you because you're weighing the pros and cons to everything. And so extroverted feeling, however, this second function makes them very acutely aware of how others perceive them to be. And so they want to be dependable. They want to be trustworthy. They want to be viewed as this person who has it all together, so to speak. If they're, going to set out to write a novel or something of that nature, they're going to be researching 12 different types of fonts. They're going to be rereading that same line of paragraph to themselves, trying to imagine what it would be like in the audience or the other person's sort of standpoint to figure out how their message is ultimately going to be perceived by the public or their friends or family. So this vision is there, but the NI is constantly battling this extroverted feeling function. And so this is where I think INFJs can spiral. Instead of thinking this is just a simple brain chemistry feature, they might perceive this as a moral failure. I must not be good enough. I must, not really have it all together like I thought I did. Another example of this might be an INFJ misses a call from a friend and they tell themselves, okay, I'm going to call this person back. I need to remember. And then the days pass and then the INFJ forgets to call that person back. They're going to think to themselves, at least that first thought is going to be, man, I'm such a bad friend. Shame on me. The reality, though, is it wasn't a lack of care or even priority for this friendship. More often than not, it was just that their mental real estate was preoccupied with something else, which goes back to the topic of why INFJs naturally will struggle to be present in the present moment. Now, the INFJ's tertiary function, so this is their third function, begins to kick in when things feel uncertain, and this pushes them to overanalysis. And so in this loop, INFJs can get stuck into overanalyzing, overassessing, weighing outcomes that are extremely unlikely. So instead of taking just this messy forward action, the INFJ gets stuck in analysis paralysis. And so they try to outthink the chaos that is in front of them. And this is because their attention is spread thin. FE is focused on people and I is focused on this vision. And so there's this inner conflict that's happening that is drawing their attention away from what is immediate and what is important. ADHD brains already struggle with getting things done and with staying on task. Once you begin to add INFJ's perfectionistic tendencies into the mix, this will look like I said, analysis paralysis. You're just stuck in this constant NI-TI loop where you're trying to think yourself out or into situations. So this looks like a constant state of planning, a constant state of entertaining the dialogues that are going on in your head. This looks like endless research on topics that you probably already know enough about to at least start. But for some reason you feel like you have to be the Jedi master of that topic. One thing I've found within myself just kind of over the years as I've observed my own behavior is that I quickly get overwhelmed by my variety of interests. Just this last year I was obsessed with the Titanic, that whole story, the history of it, the architecture, the mechanics of how it went under, the people that were on board. And so for a while I was just so obsessed with just knowing everything about it. And once I exhausted this side of my brain and I was able to kind of itch that curiosity, I quickly moved on to another interest. And it's interesting because I'm easily overwhelmed by my curiosity and my desire to just know things, but I know that on the flip side, if I do not study, if I'm not interested in something, my life becomes overtaken by this crippling sense of boredom. It's like my mind needs to be constantly occupied with something that I find intellectually stimulating, but also itches the part of me that is prone to curiosity and to understand my place in the world and how people work and culture and pretty much everything in between. And so anyways, going back to the INFJ stack, addressing the last function, this is extroverted sensing. This is their last and most inferior function. This is what manages the present moment and the physical details of the INFJ's life. Like I said, for INFJs, SE is weak. And so for ADHD, this can make things worse. There's an overstimulation to sensory output that the INFJ naturally will probably wrestle with at least once or twice in their life, whether that's extremely loud music or bright lights. It's like an example is you try to study in a noisy cafe. ESTP might thrive in that situation, but an INFJ is going to feel like their brain's glitching, just distracted by every person and every movement and every subtlety that's just happening in this environment. It's going to be very difficult for them to focus. This inferior SE also explains why INFJs will binge occasionally, usually due to stress, on these sensory impulses. So that's doom scrolling, overeating, watching an entire Netflix show in one night. Maybe it's a random online shopping spree. Shane Hall. It's trying to reclaim this ground the same way that ADHD brains are chasing dopamine. And so when you combine all of this, NI ignoring details, FE spreading attention across people, TI perfectionism, and SE sensitivity, you get a personality that is naturally distractible and will oftentimes forget what they're doing. I think it's important for INFJs to understand this is not bad habits. This is just part of your cognitive wiring that you have to accept, you have to learn from. You can overcome it. This doesn't mean that you're lazy, you're doomed, or you're broken. You just have to practice mindfulness. You just have to build your life within this system that anchors you into the present moment. Yeah, you can cut out unnecessary distractions, but I found for me just spending the first 10 minutes of every day in mindful solace, observing my own thoughts, not trying to think about anything, not trying to worry, stress. And as I just sit there and I just observe this corridor of thoughts in my mind, for me that just has really helped me become grounded in the present moment. Also, journaling has helped exponentially. Journaling has helped me give language to my abstract thought life. Meditation has helped me stay grounded in the present moment. And I think both of those combined have really elevated a sense of identity within myself. So if I had to give you guys two tools for your toolbox, mindfulness for sure to stay grounded, Stay away from stimulants, and journaling if you want to just kind of go deeper within yourself, to be honest, man. So anyways, guys, we'll wrap up here. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like. Let me know what you guys think, if this resonates with you, if you feel like you have ADHD. Curious to know if there's more of me out there. And we'll see y'all on the next one.